Manayim Sheverachim Gam Yachad. How good it is. How sweet it is. Hello, everybody. So this is Or Shalom. Or Shalom. How do you translate that? Light of peace. What a beautiful name for a Jewish community. Something truly to aspire to and inspire us. May we be blessed with light and peace. My name is Reb Ezra Weinberg, and I have been given the tremendous gift and honor to guide you through the high holiday season this year. So let's start by just looking around the room. Look around, look at your loved ones, your friends, your fellow shulgoers. Come on. People you know, people who look familiar, and people you don't know. Just take a moment, say hi. Now look back up at the bima. It's different this year. Can you feel it? We're back. We're back. Who exactly is this we? That's a good question. Who we is different this year, and it's not just me. So as we begin to land into shul tonight, I want to call attention to that ever-present experience that who we are is always changing. And the project of this high holiday season is making a big ask of each of us. These holidays are asking us to consciously engage in the process of our own change. We get a big say in who we are becoming. Yes, there are a lot of factors that are beyond our control, but tshuva, the central spiritual act of this season, is a return to consciously evolving into our best selves. All the Jewish holidays, in my experience, at their core are about engaging in our own change and really about expanding consciousness. So it's a big ask, but an exciting one. And plenty of evidence exists in our daily lives suggesting that consciousness expansion isn't possible, but we're here. And for many of us, it took a lot of effort to arrive and to get to this moment of our lives. So I'm inviting you all to let go and begin to believe again in this annual process. Even if this high holiday experience has never fully worked for you before, this year I invite you to try on this belief that we have the power to change our consciousness. And in doing so, we have the power to change our lives for the better. We continue with Hashivenu, Return Again, which is on the supplement, should be in your machzor. Page 1. preparing for these high holidays, I've spoken with a good number of you and gotten to learn about some of the qualities that make up this community. Bit by bit, I'm learning what's important to you. What do you believe? What do you not believe? How have you been handling COVID and the priorities you've made in recent years? While I've spoken to some of you, most of you I haven't spoken to. But I have to believe that if you're here tonight, you're hungry for something. There's a next step in your life, or your lives as individuals, or your life as a community that feels hard, but also really important to take together. Lucky for us, Judaism has a lot of tools to help mark important transitions in our lives that mark significant communal moments. Moments where we can say what Abraham said, Hineni, here I am. I'm ready to move forward. I invite you to say hello to your neighbor in a moment, someone you didn't arrive with. Introduce yourself, and here's the prompt. Say your name and say, actually, I do believe that. And finish the sentence. Actually, I do believe. Okay, so take a few minutes to introduce yourself to one of your neighbors, and we'll come back with return again. Begin to wrap it up. Ay, 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 anna, ay, 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 ay. 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 Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Join us. Ay, 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 nay, nay, nay. Ay, 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 I call up Misha Halm to read for a reading.
The Head of the Year by Marge Piercy. The moon is dark tonight, a new moon for a new year. It hollows and hungers to be full. It is the black zero of beginning. Now you must void yourself of injuries, insults, incursions. Go with empty hands to those you have hurt and make amends. It is not too late. It is early and about to grow. Now is the time to do what you know you must and have feared to begin. Your face is dark too, as you turn inward to face yourself, the hidden twin of all you must grow to be. Forgive the dead year. Forgive yourself. What will be wants to push through your fingers. The light you seek hides in your belly. The light you crave longs to stream from your eyes. You are the moon that will wax in new goodness.
Thank you. I'd like to call up Tanya Wasteman to light the candles. And we please rise as the candles are being lit. Wait till it's lit. Wait till it's lit.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, v'tivanu l'chiyadik shel yom tov.
Amen. Thank you. All right, stay standing. We're going to say the Shechianu to bring in the new year. We stay standing. We are about to do the, I know. You never know. We are turning to the evening service, the Baruch Hu, which is in your Machzor, in your big, thick book, on page 62. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Maybe seated. We continue on the bottom of 66. Roll into dark. No. Round. And round the earth is turning, turning always round to morning, and from morning round to night. Round and round the earth is turning, turning round the earth is turning. Turning always round to morning, and from morning round to night. Round and round the earth is turning, turning always round to morning, and from morning round to night. Umavir yom umevi laila, umavdil ben yom uven laila, Adonai tzevaot shemo, El chai v'kayam, tamidim lo chalenu leolam va'ed, Baruch atah Adonai. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 ay. Amari varavim. There's a special power in the Hebrew calendar, which if you don't know, is an amazingly unique hybrid calendar. Our ancient Hebrew calendar tracks the cycles of the sun, the seasons, and the moon. Other calendars don't quite do it the same way, but our calendar is designed to sync up our minds and our bodies with the natural world. It's actually designed, among other reasons, to make a physiological link between the earth, sun, moon, the human body, and the psyche. And the holidays are designed around this principle as well. So there's a special power in these first moments of the new year that invite us to go a little deeper. And you can feel it a little bit in your life. It's an intense time of year. Anybody feeling that? Right? It seems like a pretty ill-advised time to have a bunch of Jewish holidays. But there's a deep embodied wisdom inherent in this moment of the year when the wheel of the seasons is shifting. Our minds, our bodies, our hearts are more open to change. Rosh Hashanah is a New Year's celebration, but it's no party. This holiday season makes huge demands of our time and our priorities and ourselves. And I can't say it enough. It's a big ask. It's a big ask to buy in again, to take this stuff seriously. No one but you is going to hold you accountable. It's a big ask to get reconnected to our own liberation. We continue with Olam Chesed Yibaneh. world from love. Yeah, yeah, yeah. If we build this world from love. Yeah. Bottom of 74. ואהבתך לא תסור ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני. איי, 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 אוהב עמו ישראל. We call up Elisa Garbus for the Or Shalom tradition of the year in review.
Charlie can't be here to deliver his year in review because he and Myra are away at their son Jonah's wedding. Mazel tov to the couple and their loved ones. This year in review was compiled, written, and edited by Charlie Varon, Myra Levy, and Adam Goldberg. We gather this evening as a community, witnesses to the passing of another year. We remember, we reflect, we take stock. Since we gathered a year ago, the Earth has completed another orbit around the sun, and the moon has orbited the Earth 13 times. In the past year, Texas instituted a ban on abortions after 6 weeks and offered a $10,000 bounty for reporting on a neighbor who violates the ban. And in the past year, 5 Supreme Court justices, each of whom had testified that Roe was settled law, eliminated the federal right to a legal and safe abortion, even in the event of rape, incest, the health of the mother, or an unviable pregnancy. In his opinion, Justice Thomas added that the court should reconsider the right of married couples to use contraception, the legality of same-sex romantic relationships, and marriage equality. In the past year, Kansas, one of the most conservative states in the nation, voted to keep abortion legal by a margin of 59% to 41%. In the past year, Texas Governor Abbott announced that delivering gender-affirming medical treatments to transgender youth constitutes child abuse under state law. In the past year, teachers in Alabama, Florida, Michigan, and Wisconsin were instructed to remove rainbow pride flags from their classrooms. And books were banned at the highest levels ever recorded. In the past year, polar ice melted, forests burned, crops failed, countries flooded, and heat waves swept the globe. After carbon emissions slowed at the start of the pandemic, in the past year, global emissions rebounded to their highest level in human history. At the same time, electric cars proliferated, the cost of renewable energy plummeted, and carbon removal technology progressed. In the past year, the US passed the biggest climate bill ever, which stands to reduce carbon emissions 40% by 2030 and addresses environmental injustice with a $60 billion investment in disadvantaged communities. The law passed with votes from one political party only. 139 members of Congress still deny the existence of human-caused climate change. In the past year, the January 6th committee convened and presented the case that Trump and his lies were responsible for the attack on the Capitol. 70% of Republicans still believe Trump won the 2020 election. And this year, 1 in 2 Americans will have an election denier on the ballot. Many Republicans in key battleground races refuse to say they will accept the election results. In the past year, Viktor Orbán proclaimed Hungarians do not want to become peoples of mixed race, and was later warmly welcomed to a meeting of CPAC in Texas. In the past year, the 17-year-old who shot 3 unarmed protesters in Kenosha, Wisconsin, was acquitted. After his acquittal, the former president called him really a nice young man. In the past year, the FBI searched Mar-a-Lago and retrieved over 100 classified documents, including one describing a foreign government's nuclear capabilities. In the past year, the Senate invoked the filibuster over 300 times. Votes were blocked on domestic terrorism prevention, women's health protection, COVID supplemental funding, and the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. In the past year, support for unions reached its highest level since 1965, and workers at Starbucks, Trader Joe's, Chipotle, and Amazon's Staten Island warehouse voted to unionize. In the past year, Putin ordered the invasion of Ukraine. Russian armed forces continue to commit war crimes, bombing apartment buildings, maternity wards, nuclear power stations, and torturing civilians. Ukrainian children have been taken from their families and relocated to Russia. Russian forces have blockaded Ukrainian ports, set fire to Ukrainian fields, and targeted grain silos, risking the starvation of millions. In Russia, the penalty for protesting the invasion, or even using the word war to describe it, was set at 15 years in prison. And in the past year, Zelensky transformed his role from that of a bit player in a Trump scandal to a hero of democracy. In the past year, energy prices spiked and oil companies posted profits of $30 billion per month. In the past year, more than 50,000 people were held in solitary confinement on any given day in America. Meanwhile, California joined a handful of other states to limit the use of solitary confinement. Among Americans, in the past year, 1/4 of us felt depressed, 1/3 of us felt anxious, and over half of us were lonely. In the past year, a whistleblower revealed that Facebook knows in precise detail that its products contribute to loneliness and depression and undermine democratic norms in America and across the globe. In the past year, we saw the decline of Delta, the rise of Omicron, and the US continued to suffer the greatest number of total confirmed COVID deaths in the world. Over 1 million lives have been lost. Many people refused to take life-saving vaccines. And again this year, Anthony Fauci and public health officials across the country received death threats. In the past year, there were mass shootings in Uvalde, Buffalo, Sacramento, and over 400 shootings in American schools. In the past year, over 100,000 Americans were the victims of gun violence. while in Japan the number was 10. In the past year, the US placed a telescope in orbit around the sun, unfurled a heat shield the size of a tennis court, and began to capture what may be the clearest images of the heavens in the history of the universe. In the past year, Shalom said farewell to Rabbi Katie, welcomed our new executive director, Amy Maller, found our interim rabbi, Chaya Gusfield, and found a new home in Bernal Heights. In the past year, students in California returned to in-person learning. Governor Newsom easily defeated a recall attempt. Our state enacted new wage and workplace protections for fast food workers and approved a plan to restrict and ultimately ban the sale of gasoline-powered cars by 2035. A heat wave put pressure on the state's electric grid, but California avoided rolling blackouts. In San Francisco, voters recalled 3 school board members, as well as District Attorney Chesa Boudin. In the last year, hate crimes against Asian Americans spiked, not only in San Francisco, but also statewide and nationally. In the last year, the Golden State Warriors beat the Boston Celtics and won the NBA championship, prompting speculation that they are one of the greatest basketball teams in history. In the last year, the world lost Desmond Tutu, Mikhail Gorbachev, Senator Harry Reid, Colin Powell, Shinzo Abe, Madeleine Albright, Queen Elizabeth, Stephen Sondheim, Joan Didion, Bell Hooks, Betty White, Sidney Poitier, Dr. Paul Farmer, Thich Nhat Hanh, Barbara Ehrenreich, sports writer Roger Angel, broadcaster Vin Scully, and evolutionary biologist E.O. Wilson. In the last year, relief workers saved lives. Activists organized for justice, for peace, for universal health care, for voting rights, for environmental sustainability. Around the world, millions of people worked for universal access to safe food, shelter, and clean water. In the last year, without warning or preparation, human beings entered into moments of intense joy. In our community in the last year, we celebrated new babies, b'nai mitzvah, graduations, and weddings. Teeth were lost, new teeth grown. Many hours of homework were done. We sent kids off to kindergarten and to college, and received young adult children back into our homes in the increasingly unaffordable Bay Area. Grandparents took care of grandchildren, adult children cared for aging parents. A lot of us did the best we could for our loved ones. In our personal lives, some of us have had an ordinary year. Others have been shaken to the core. Some of us have lost family members and friends. Some have struggled with illness, injury, addiction, and unemployment. Some have been blessed with healing and new beginnings. Change and stability. We reflect on what we've lost and what we've gained. People we have grown distant from, people we've grown closer to. Who we've been and who we are becoming. We reflect on what we have learned this past year, what we've learned about ourselves, what we've learned about loved ones and about our community, what we've learned about the world, what we've learned about our purpose in life. Make sure everyone you know is registered to vote. There are 44 days until the 2022 election.
Yes, God. Amen. In a moment, we're going to return to page 75. We're going to do the Shema and the Ve'ahavta. I call up Asher and Ananda and any other teens who would like to join us. And the Or Shalom tradition is to do the sign language of the Shema. So if you'll join me, we'll take a few deep breaths first. Let all that sink in and sink out. One more. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך ושיננתם לבניך ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלתך בדרך ושוכבך ובקומך ושרתם להיות על ידיך והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובישעריך.
We move to Mi Chamocha on page 90. Mi Chamocha Bailim Adonai Nora Tehilot Sefele Mi Chamocha Nedar B'Kodesh Nora Tehilot Sefele Ay 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 Who's next? Who's next? Kamocha Nedar B'Kodesh Nora Tehilot Sefele Mi hamocha nedar b'kodesh Nora tehiloto sefele ya 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 One more. Mi hamocha nedar b'kodesh Nora tehiloto sefele ya 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 I love that tradition. Let's move on to Shalom Rav, which is on page 124. Have you ever heard the term a palace in time, coined by Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel? He uses a palace in time as a way of describing the essential elements of Shabbat. To have a meaningful Shabbat practice, according to Heschel, we could be in a lot of different locations in the world. It doesn't really matter where we are. Shabbat is not place-dependent. He's saying rather Shabbat is time-dependent. The essential question isn't are we creating space for Shabbat, but rather are we creating time for Shabbat? Are we creating time to rest from the hamster wheel of life? I realize that in our current mode of speech, space is now a synonym for time. Like, I'm creating space in my life for making more art. But that's really talking about time, which is exactly what I'm going to speak about tonight. Jewish time as it relates to Or Shalom and this very moment in time. Or Shalom. You are going through a very liminal moment in the life of your community. You're experiencing your first high holidays without your spiritual leader of the last 15 years. You are in transition. I wonder if time feels both contracted and expanded for you in this moment. You are really in a bridge moment with me up here between who you've been and who you are becoming. And that has to be exciting and nerve-wracking at the same time. I feel the significance of this moment in time, and I hope it's okay to name it. A leadership transition moment is always a significant moment for a community. Kal v'chomer, as the sages would say, how much more the more so when it's happening on Rosh Hashanah. But before I get back into this moment, let's be clear on what I mean by Jewish time. Jewish time is often measured in cycles. By cycle, I mean ritual and community gathering moments that are identified by where we are in time. So Jewish time cycles come in different sizes. For example, birth, b'nai mitzvah, marriage, divorce, death. Those are some of the life cycles that often measure a human life. All the Jewish holidays, on the other hand, they form the year cycle. But there are lesser-known cycles in Jewish time, and we're in one now. Within the holiday cycle, there's smaller chunks of holidays. I call them little clusters of Jewish holidays. We're in one now, from Tisha B'Av, which was in the middle of the summer, until the end of Sukkot, the end of Simchas Torah. That's a cluster of holidays. It's a cluster of cycle. In the yeshiva world, they organize their learning semesters around those smaller cycles of holidays, and they actually call those semesters Zman, which just means time. As you may have noticed, Jewish time is fascinating to me. I can be a little obsessed with tracking the Jewish calendar. Take the Hebrew leap year, for example, which we just completed today. In our secular Gregorian calendar, we add one day every 4 years at the end of February, right? Our leap day. In the Hebrew calendar, we add an entire month. And every year, I still wonder how the ancient rabbis devised a system of adding 1 month 7 out of every 19 years so that the lunar aspects of our calendar would reset and be in sync with our solar calendar. How did they figure that stuff out 2,500 years ago in a way that would still totally work today? Without calculators. Living in two civilizations means living in two separate calendars. To some, it may feel like a burden. But to me, I feel like time-wise, I'm living in 3D. If anyone wants to learn more about the challenges and opportunities living in Jewish time, you're invited to reach out to me. So, Jewish cycles of time come in all varieties, from cycle of the day to the cycle of your life. But there's one cycle that bears significance on this day. It's a highly underrated cycle, and yet could be the most significant cycle in the entire Jewish project. I'm talking about the 7-year cycle, also called the Shemitah cycle. For those of you who didn't hear last year's Rosh Hashanah sermon, just a quick description of Shemitah. The Torah is really into the number 7. This all started out in the creation story when God rested on the 7th day. Our whole Shabbat cycle is based on the notion that we rest on the 7th day, just like God did. We also have 7 weeks between Passover and Shavuot. 7 is everywhere, and it symbolizes rest and completion. But if Shabbat is the 7th day of rest for people, for individuals, then Shemitah is this expanded idea in the Torah that every 7 years, the land and society get a rest. Specifically, there's no farming on the 7th year, the Shemitah year. In a society where most people worked in agriculture, that means basically a year off of work for everybody. Some of you work in academia, you know what a sabbatical is. Shemitah is the radical idea that we don't just need a rest on a weekly level, but the earth and human society require a chance to take a deep breath. We need to slow down a lot. So 1 out of every 7 years, we get a year off, but it goes further. Another aspect of Shemitah is financial. According to the Torah, all debts are released in the Shemitah year. Can you imagine? Given what I've already described, the Shemitah might be the most significant social framework against human and earth exploitation. In its essence, it serves as a corrective against I have heard rabbis say that the entire point of the Jewish enterprise is to achieve what Shemitah was trying to achieve, a human society that eradicates exploitation and cruelty. Obviously, the idea of Shemitah never took the way the Torah describes. It's debatable, even in ancient Israel, the vast laws of Shemitah were ever the laws of the land. So we could dismiss it as just another antiquated set of laws in the Torah. On the other hand, I do find radical ideas in the Torah that level out the playing field between rich and poor to be inspiring. And I also recognize how difficult and entrenched we are in the capitalist system that privileges overproduction and overconsumption, often above the dignity of human life. I'm not a believer in implementing Shemitah now, but I do believe that Shemitah has value, and I want to speak about 2 specific related ways tonight: time and vision. Let's start with time. 1 year ago today on Rosh Hashanah, it was the first day of the Shemitah year. Rabbi Katie talked about it from this spot. I watched it on YouTube. I talked about it at my holiday pulpit last year. It was a hot topic in the rabbinical world. I even heard some Jewish communities in the spirit of Shemitah running campaigns to relieve medical debt. The entire past year of 5782 was a Shemitah year, and that ended just a few minutes ago. So as we are bringing in the new year, 5783, we're done with Shemitah, right? Right? We're done with Shemitah. We are done with Shemitah year. We are done with the Shemitah year, but we're on day 1 of the next Shemitah cycle. Remember, our calendar and Jewish time is based in cycles. The actual names of the week, the weekday names, according to the Siddur, according to Hebrew, are Yom Rishon Shel Shabbat, Yom Sheni Shel Shabbat. Day 1 of Shabbat, day 2 of Shabbat, all the way until the 7th day, which is just called Shabbat. The whole week is building to Shabbat, to that day of rest. So too, the Shemitah cycle. And each year we are building towards the 7th year, the year of rest, when we can cease our endless, tireless lives of production and bask in what we've created. So this is day 1 in the next 7-year Shemitah cycle. Let's talk about vision. The Torah asks, at least in the framework of Shemitah, that as a society, we think in 7-year increments. That seems like a lot of time. When I think about the beginning of the next Shemitah year, starting in 6 years from today, my 11-year-old son, who just started 6th grade, will likely be beginning his senior year of high school. My 6-year-old daughter will be starting 7th grade and approaching her bat mitzvah. For me, that feels like a long time from now, but it's not crazy to imagine life in 6 years either. It's far away, but not too far. Where will you be in 6 years, in the next Shemitah year? Shemitah gives us an opportunity to think about our lives individually and communally in 7-year cycles. It gives us an opportunity to imagine the life we want for ourselves, our loved ones, and the world at large. Now, we know corporations and nonprofits often engage in strategic planning. I imagine Shalom engaged in some strategic planning. What might it mean if we engage in our own strategic 7-year plan? The Shemitah cycle invites us all into a deeper process of counting our days and our lives and giving ourselves specific ways to consider the life we should be living. That is visionary. We're not forced to do it, and for many people, thinking ahead is often hard, burdensome, but I'm not making this stuff up either. Our ancient wisdom asks us to fashion our lives within these cycles of time. So let's bring this all home. Or Shalom. You have had one spiritual leader for the last 2 Shemitah cycles. A lot of who you are is up in the air. Who do you want to become in the next 6 years? What do you want to say you accomplished by the time the next Shemitah rolls around? What will be the next significant chapter in the story of this community that gets told? How will you stay the same? How will you be different? How will you use the next 6 years to build up to the community and the people that you want to become? I imagine some of you are already asking these questions. How will you invite more people into that conversation? People in this room, people not in this room, and people who have yet to step in these rooms. We'll finish with a blessing for time and vision. The traditional expression or greeting upon hearing that someone is pregnant is B'sha'a Tovah, which means may everything come in a good and appropriate time. But that expression isn't just limited to pregnancy. All of us, pregnant or not, deserve blessings of good timing in our lives. We all deserve a B'sha'a Tovah. Sounds a lot like Shana Tovah. As we pray for a new year, let us also pray for good timing in our lives. And may we have the vision to see ahead to who we want to be, and the wisdom and patience to figure out how to connect who we are now to who we want to become. B'sha'a Tovah and Shana Tovah. On that note, we are about to do our prayer for healing. As we get ready to sing the healing prayer, I'm going to call up Pat Scala to read the names.
Katie Stein, Linda Carter, Davina Reed, Rizard Ostrowski, Paula Granados, Lisa Rying, Barry Coron, Stanley Garbus, Paul Hartzog, David Hartzog, Barbara Gustafson, Daniel Ben Doba Vihayam Najir Ha Levi, and an added one, Lonnie Mahal. Through our sanctuary effort, some of our congregants are supporting individual immigrants caught up in our country's painful immigration system. We add their names to our healing list by first name only to preserve privacy. So we pray for healing also for Ivan, Melvin, Patrice, Kevin, Maria and her sons, Jose Eduardo, Belisa, Diego, Edgardo and his family.
Please add names. Please say out loud the names of people you're praying for. The most obviously, uniquely Rosh Hashanah tool for shifting our consciousness is the shofar. Prayers are also intended to impact us that way, but the shofar is unique because it attempts to impact our bodies without words, just sound. A sound to change ourselves. Another significant tool for Rosh Hashanah to change our consciousness is tshuva, the process of turning and returning to our truest selves. So how is shofar like tshuva? In some ways, they are both ancient, yearning beyond words, a calling that feels primordial, beyond memory through our body, turning. Shofar is the instrument of tshuva. If tshuva ever had a sound, it would be the shofar. Shofar is not simply a sound, but a cycle. And it's building towards something, from wholeness to broken to shattered to wholeness. How is that reflected in our lives? What's it building towards? Where are you in the cycle of your life? Are you whole? Are you broken? Are you shattered? Are you moving through all of them towards wholeness again? We rise for the shofar blowing. Page 632 if you want to follow along. Amen. Tekiah. Shvarim Trua. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shvarim Trua. Tekiah. Tekiah. Shvarim Trua. Tekiah Gedolah. Be seated. We're moving ourselves towards the Amida, the silent prayer, which begins on 104. But first, we're going to have a reading of Betsy Strasberg.
I wrote this during discussions of the Considering God Salon. We were talking about what is the meaning of prayer for us, for those who believe in some concept of God, those who don't, those who are unsure. So I call it Prayer for Me. Praying is a yearning for the best of humanity that is possible, a yearning that is individual and collective for something that at times feels beyond our abilities. It's about discovering what's possible, inside and out, small and large, seeing, hearing, and feeling in new ways. It's about softening the blows and healing the wounds, connecting with what is and what could be for now and for the future. It's about coming home and journeying beyond.
We take those words for prayer, whatever it may be for you. We stand up and we take a few minutes of silence. For those who want to read, the traditional liturgy is on page 104, and we'll come back together with Oseh Shalom. rise as the ark is open. Angelique and Bodhi, open the ark, please. Avinu Malkeinu is found on 454. Be seated as the ark is closed. Gives me great pleasure to invite up Or Shalom Board President Matt Rudolph.
Good evening. We are delighted this year that so many of you are able to attend in person, as well as those who are attending via the live stream. Welcome to everyone attending our service tonight, our new members, our returning members, and our guests. Thank you to all those attending in person for continuing to practice safe COVID protocols by wearing your mask at our High Holiday services this year. Although we're all becoming accustomed to restrictions being loosened regarding COVID, Shalom appreciates your understanding and patience for the continued masking safeguard as we're still experiencing COVID exposures at our children's schools and at our workplaces. COVID protocols just might be the one thing Shalom is a little conservative about. As we embark upon our personal and communal journeys through the High Holy Days, we are so blessed to be led by Reb Ezra Weinberg. Thank you, Reb Ezra, for accepting our invitation to come out west and lead our community through the High Holy Days at a pivotal transitional moment in Shalom's story. To be willing to embrace the spiritual and emotional challenges many of our community are experiencing after the departure of Rabbi Katie Mizrahi, our beloved rabbi of many years, for that you are brave, and we are grateful. I also wish to thank Rabbi Katie, who holds all of us dearly in her heart, for consulting with Reb Ezra in his preparation to lead us through the High Holy Days. And to Rabbi Katie, who at this very moment leads her new congregation in Denver, our loving blessings to you, Raj, Adam, Daniel, and to your parents, Al and Patricia, in your return to your hometown. We wish you the sweetest of years. Many in our community have held us together through such a challenging year. Some of them are here on the bima holding instruments and singing through those pesky masks. I truly believe that the musical ensemble and the choir, how their music has kept our spirits elevated, have been the thread keeping all of us knitted together. So much gratitude to all of you for your hard work and efforts, with special thanks to Douglas Mandel, acting as our interim musical director, and to Robin Tallman for helping with ensemble administrative and logistical tasks. Thank you. I also want to express Shalom's thanks to the staff and teachers who helped our community throughout the past year, including Lillian Markline, Ben Razio, Emily Rosenberg, Nitza Agam, Rabbi Elisheva Salamo and her daughter Amalia. We are pleased to welcome a new addition to our staff, Naomi Rodriguez-Feiner, as our communication director. So many of you, our members, have stepped up and volunteered throughout the year on committees, at events, at Bet Sefer, and leading Shabbat blessings, various programming, Tikkun Olam, social justice initiatives, educational opportunities, and conducting all the behind-the-scenes work I am not even aware of. Thank you. Truly, it has taken a village this past year. And during these High Holy Days, I want to thank our members, Zahava Dahan and Josh Babcock, for helping lead the family services before each main service. And I want to thank all of the volunteers who have planned and assisted with setting up our High Holy Day services. And Margot, I know you've done a lot. Thank you. And Rabbi Meira, you have been a torchbearer these last months. You have filled the gap after Rabbi Katie's departure, providing pastoral care, leading services, offering advice and guidance, partnering with our friends in the Southside Jewish Collaborative, and providing a smorgasbord of educational programming. I can't begin to express how fortunate and blessed Shalom is to have you in our fold. You are a treasure. All, please keep an eye out for current and upcoming educational programs conceived of and being led by Rabbi Meira, including one soon on candleology. She's got flyers. There's something to say about it. Okay. To the board and the executive committee, I thank you for being such great leaders, coming together to make decisions to benefit and guide Shalom, and for being so supportive of each other and of me. You all have taken on so much to keep Shalom moving forward. And perhaps the best decision our board made this year was hiring Amy Mallor as our executive director. Since coming to Shalom in May, Amy has worked tirelessly on many fronts to ensure our sustainability and to initiate growth. Amy, you're an amazing surge of energy for Shalom, and I thank you for working so closely with me and the board to get things done. Last Monday, Shalom closed escrow on the purchase of our very first building and our new home on Cortlandt Avenue in Bernal Heights. Amy discovered the listing, brought it to the board's attention, and now we have our own building, just like that. Yeah. Well, it wasn't that easy, and it wasn't that simple, believe me. I want to thank everyone involved in making this long-held dream of our community a reality. There are just too many names to include here. But I would like first to thank all of the folks who had served on the Space Committee at different times over the years, helping our community find focus in the search for a building. For this effort to purchase the Cortland building, I want to extend particular gratitude to our member Stephen Gerard, who created and donated to our building fund, and to Amy, both of whom worked many hours with me over the last couple of months to achieve this goal. I want to thank the EC, the board, Rabbi Meira, Lillian Markind, our former presidents, and all of you, our members, for your support and trust in us to make all of this happen. A very special thanks to our board's vice president, Merle Banan, who, by pure chance, as the seller's agent, displayed extraordinary professionalism and patience as we all navigated the many twists and turns and frustrating moments of this transaction. I also want to express gratitude to our agent, Stu Jerry, who advised and guided our team through the entire process, and without question, the valuable pro bono legal counsel provided by our member, Barbara Gregoratos, was essential to our research, to our negotiations on multiple facets, and to our success in buying this property. Thank you, Barbara. Finally, I want to thank deeply a few of our members who wish to remain anonymous and donated significant funding, over $500,000, to the new Cortland campaign for the building purchase and its upcoming improvements. We have more work ahead of us in the coming months to get the building ready to occupy. Or Shalom leadership will keep you apprised of goings-on with the building as we continue our planning and preparation to use the building as a safe, secure, and sacred space for worship, learning, meeting, and socializing. We do hope to be using the building in at least partial fashion by sometime next spring, perhaps sooner. To raise funding for the building's improvements and upkeep, tonight we are formally initiating our Cortland campaign. Information about the Cortland campaign is available tonight in the lobby, and some more information about the building, and you will receive more communications over the coming weeks. After the High Holy Days have concluded, please consider how you can comfortably contribute financially to the Cortland campaign so that we and the future generations of our Shalomers can best utilize the building in the years to come. The board will soon determine how members can volunteer on new committees related to the operations and the beautification and improvements to our new home. If you have the background in any capacity to be a part of such committees, please contact Amy Mallor regarding your interest. We would especially welcome any members who have knowledge and expertise in such areas as construction, architecture, or interior design, particularly in relation to Jewish spaces, and property management. In the meantime, Or Shalom will continue to hold our smaller in-person events at Brandeis, and we are so grateful to Brandeis for providing us space and for their openness and flexibility in helping our community remain connected and actually become connected again. This past year, despite the ongoing pandemic and rabbinical and staff transitions, Or Shalom was able to continue providing our membership the programming, social and educational opportunities, and rituals to which we are accustomed, sometimes on Zoom, sometimes in person. There was Kvetch and Kavel crafting, the book group, our Considering God salon, which you heard something from Betsy today, weekly Zoom Minya Torah study, embodied spiritual practice. The Women's Circle program continued, and recently there have been a couple of neighborhood hikes on Shabbat. I think more of those may come. Friday evening services were led by several of our members. The Tikkun Olam Committee and our various action groups, sometimes in association with other faith communities, focused on issues such as climate justice, racial equity and inclusion, voting rights, and immigration. We wrote reminder postcards to voters with our kids. We participated in online and in-person protests, marches, and vigils. Our sanctuary, Or Shalom, continues to support immigrants under threat in our community, providing them support at detention hearings, supplying items for personal needs, or seeking reunification with their loved ones. Or Shalom has been Or Shalom. This past year, Or Shalom continued to offer our slate of children's education. Our monthly Sing Shalom for Tots was led by Rabbi Katie and various musical guests. And get those little ones into the groove, because the first Sing Shalom of the season will be on Saturday morning, October 15th at Brandeis. And we welcome both members and non-member families to register for any upcoming session. And this year we're happy to have Jenny Clancy from the Jewish Baby Network lead our tots in song through the year. Our Bet Safer for 2nd through 7th graders started in person last fall, but pivoted to online Zoom sessions the remainder of the year in response to the COVID resurgence. Our parents in the program provided crucial support during a challenging school year, and we were grateful for the return of our teacher, Nitza Agam. We are delighted that Nitza will be teaching Bet Safer again this coming year, along with Or Agam. Bet Safer will be held on Tuesday afternoons at Brandeis beginning October 25th, and we will soon be accepting registrations for returning and new students. And here in this very sanctuary, about half a dozen B'nai Mitzvah were celebrated this past year, and we look forward to celebrating about another half dozen of our cohort that are scheduled in 2023. Emerging from the consequences of the pandemic, one of the highest priorities on the board's agenda this year is to reinvigorate the educational programs at Or Shalom and grow our school to the robustness it has had in the past. To achieve that goal, the board and the executive director will initiate a search and hopefully a hiring of a new education director by the spring so that we can enter the 2023 to 24 school year with a refreshed and renewed Bet Safer. And we have another important hire to make, a settled rabbi from the Reconstructing Judaism movement who will be Or Shalom's leader for the years to come. The search and hiring process for candidates will begin in earnest immediately after the High Holy Days. As with the interim rabbi search, our rabbi search task force will conduct a rigorous and thorough review of candidates, including interview panels and selecting top candidates to lead Shabbaton weekends for our congregation. Our plan is to have the new settled rabbi in place before the next High Holy Days. In the meantime, as we head into 5783, our members will again have the support of an experienced rabbi. On October 10th, we will welcome Rabbi Chaya Gusfield as our interim rabbi to lead Or Shalom in the coming year. Rabbi Chaya will offer our community expert religious leadership, compassionate spiritual care, and thoughtful teachings in the next year. We look forward to all of you meeting and engaging with Rabbi Chaya soon. Or Shalom expresses its gratitude to the hard work put forth by the Rabbi Search Task Force, chaired by board member Angelique Van Halle, and composed of members Madeline Levin, Betsy Strasberg, Leslie Rothman, Stephen Gerard, Pierre Barrelette, and Chester Hartzell. Thank you all, and to those who also participated in the interview panels and planned and arranged the Shabbatons. And a final thank you to the Personnel Committees, Stacy Layton as its chair, Jody LeWitter, Sue Schechter, and Leslie Rothman. Among other tasks, thank you for all your consultation and your work in the hiring process for multiple positions this past year. One of the themes Rabbi Ezra has touched upon and will touch upon over the holy days is Shemitah, the sabbatical year, the last year of the biblical 7-year cycle. 5782 was the sabbatical year, even though it didn't feel like it to me. Tonight we have begun 5783, the start of a new 7-year cycle, and we have weathered much the past 7 years, each personally and as a Jewish community. Yet we have endured. We will continue to do so, and we will become stronger together. As we enter this next 7-year cycle, with finally a space Or Shalom can call its own, with a spiritual launch ignited tonight with Rabbi Ezra, with the upcoming year of leadership and care from Rabbi Chaya, with a settled rabbi to be hired next year to lead us in the coming years, this is my opportunity to ask you, where do you see Or Shalom 7 years from now? How do you see Or Shalom getting there, that place, that entity you envision? How do you see yourself as part of the energy to get to that place? How do you contribute to realizing that vision? I encourage you, I urge you to not only remain a part of Or Shalom Jewish community, but to be as engaged a member as you are able and as you desire. Please consider how you can commit some of your time, your wisdom, and your expertise to Or Shalom, whether it is joining a committee, assisting at a specific event, or hearing the call for occasional help to schlep, shop, or stuff envelopes. If you are not yet a member of Or Shalom, please consider joining us as we build and realize our future. The sabbatical is over. We are planting new seeds. There will be much to harvest in the coming years. Together, let's reap the rewards. Shana Tova.
Shana Tova. We are getting pretty close to the end of our service. It's time to say the Mourner's Kaddish. I'm going to read the yard site and Yizkor lists in a moment, but if you are saying Kaddish, sorry, find the page. Big machzor. Okay. We're going to, if it is your custom to rise for Mourner's Kaddish, I invite you to do so and say the names for those who you are. We're looking for 10:31. 10:32, okay. I'll read the list and then please add names as you're able. Valerie Danehauer Harvey, Alvin Siegel, Ann Potter, Bob Dantz, Seal Boren, Dr. Bernard Lifson, Eric Richard Salo, Froy Portman, Jean Berry, John Paul Ferrara, Joseph Roth, Leon Seligman, Lucy Salzman, Lorraine Siegel, Martin Sandberg, Mary Tibbetts, Michelle Turner, Phil Weinstein, Rahila Portman, Robert Joseph Gerard, Rose Balin, Rose Miller, Saul Zorn, Selma Rosenberg, Sheldon Kowalski, Stephen Feiner, Sylvia Glass. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divra chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayachon u'vyomechon u'v'chayei d'chol beit Yisrael, b'gala v'zman kariv ve'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah vorach le'olam le'almei almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yitalev v'yithalal shemei d'kudsha. Le'ela, le'ela, min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechemata, damiran ve'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom v'romav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru, amen. Okay, you may be seated. Our final announcements from our executive director, Amy.
Good evening and Lashana Tova. Before I get into the standard announcements, I just want to say, wow, how good it is to be with you, and how good it is to be in a sanctuary even with people with masks on. It's just beautiful. So Douglas, can you give me how good it is? Bet you never had an announcement like that before, right? A couple of announcements. Tomorrow, Rosh Hashanah family service is at 9 a.m., followed by our main service at 10:30. Those wonderful holy passes that you received in the mail, or your guest ticket holy passes, do not put them in the wash. They are going to be also used for Yom Kippur, so make sure you hold on to them. And on your way out tonight, there is a table to the right as you leave, and we have our Stronger Together brochure, and it gives us a beautiful history of our founding mothers. And in addition to that, on the back, there's a way you can get involved, community involvement, and that's super important. Years ago, before I became an executive director, I got involved in my synagogue in Miami, Florida, and I was vice president of membership, and 23 years later, here I am standing. So it's a beautiful way to be part of a community, to get involved, and we really do need people to volunteer and step up. This is going to be an important year for us, like every year, but please take a look, grab one of these, and also there's a resource guide as well as other information. Food bags are there. There's a limited supply chain on food bags, believe it or not, and hopefully by Yom Kippur we'll have additional ones. And Ruth McGinnis will talk a little bit more about that. Mark on your calendars October 1st, when Reb Ezra and Gail Gurowitz does the embodied spiritual practice at Brandeis at 10 a.m. And then October 4th and 5th, we have Kol Nidre and Yom Kippur. And Lashana Tova, everybody. It's a delight to be here. It's how good it is. Thank you so much.
You know how we think about Native American communities and we want them to preserve their spiritual practice? Well, guess what? We've got a Jewish community with spiritual practices. And talking with Amy about what we're going to do for adult education, an idea arose in me that I've had for 35 years, and I think we're going to do it. I still have some, I still got to present it to the board, but I'm calling it the School of Jewish Living Arts, intergenerational. And when you think of it, anything is a Jewish living art, from making a challah to lighting Shabbat candles to leading a Shiva minyan, chanting from the Torah. I'm out of breath from coming up the stairs. Just a minute. And we've already begun with Hebrew classes, and I just learning the alphabet, and I hope to repeat that It's only 4 sessions. But there are a couple of flyers out there. Right after Yom Kippur, we're going to start learning how to chant from the Torah, but you have to be able to decode Hebrew. But here's one for everybody, 8 years old and up. You can come younger if you come with a parent. Candleology. You know, like what's the woo-woo with the lighting the Shabbat candles, you know, and how do you make them stick in the holder so they don't fall over? And we're going to braid our own Havdalah candles. But then you have to learn how to do Havdalah, right? And anyway, we're going to have 4 sessions, 2 on Zoom, 2 in person. We're not sure where yet. Maybe somebody's home because of COVID and all. We don't know what's happening. But there are flyers out there, and pick them up. It's adults and kids learning together, and it's going to have depth. It's going to have meat. And the important thing, if you want to register for any of these, or if you have any ideas, what Jewish skill do you wish you knew how to do? My new email address is Rabbi Meirah, MEIRAH, @orshalom.org.
Okay. $11.98. Savri Chaverai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher karanu levodato ve'romanu b'kedushato v'kichanu b'mitzvotav v'titen lanu anahu v'ahava et yom hazikaron hazeh Yom Truah Mikra Kodesh Zecher L'Tziat Mitzrayim Ki Eleinu Karata Ve'otanu Kidasha L'avodatecha U'dvarcha Emet Ve'kayam La'ad Baruch Atah Adonai Melech HaKol Haaretz Mekadesh Yisrael 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 Ve'yom HaZikaron L'chaim. Standing as we do our closing benediction. If you're comfortable linking, yes. Then Adon Olam. Oh, okay. Closing benediction followed by Adon Olam. May the blessings of God rest upon you. May God's peace abide with you. May God's presence illuminate your heart now and forevermore. And now Adon Olam. We're doing things a little differently. Right? Page 1224.